British Prime Minister Theresa May won the confidence of her Conservative Party. She survived a leadership challenge and will be the country's Prime Minister. 200 Conservative lawmakers voted in favour of her, while 117 voted against her. After winning the vote, May said that she was pleased to receive the backing of her colleagues. She also said that it was time to get to the job of delivering the Brexit for the British people. She will be going to the European Council tomorrow to seek legal and political assurances. US President Donald Trump's former personal lawyer Michael Cohen was sentenced to 3 years. He was convicted for financial crimes and orchestrating hush payments to women before the 2016 election. He said that his blind loyalty led him to cover up for Trump. He was also sentenced to 2 months for lying to the Congress about a proposed Trump Tower project in Russia. Both terms will run simultaneously. Cohen has to voluntarily surrender by March 6th. Adult film star Stormy Daniels' attorney said that Cohen should spend every day of his sentence. Adult film actor Stormy Daniels was one among the 2 women to be paid by him before the November 2016 election. Daniels' attorney Michael Gavinati went on to say that Cohen was neither a hero nor a patriot. He lied for months. He also said that Cohen only decided to come clean after his back was against the wall and he was about to face significant prison time. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that he will push the UN Security Council to toughen its stance against Iran. This in order to prevent Iran from working on ballistic missiles capable of delivering nuclear weapons and carrying out test launches. He also asked that the arms embargo on Iran shouldn't be lifted in 2020. He called on the Council to establish measures to thwart Iran's efforts to circumvent arms restrictions. China made its first major purchases of U.S. soybeans since the trade war truce. This is expected to provide some relief to U.S. farmers who have struggled to find buyers for their large harvests. China purchased over 1.5 million tons of beans valued over $500 million. China has also told state oil trader Unipec to buy U.S. oil, and the United States is expecting Beijing to cut tariffs on U.S.-made autos and car parts. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned the countries about climate deal. He said that the failure to agree on rules to implement the 2015 Paris climate deal would be suicidal. Guterres told the delegates at the COP24 summit that they had less 3 days to reach a common ground needed for a deal. Guterres made a reference to UN panel report which highlighted a catastrophic future if no action was taken to curb global warming. Yemeni government and Houthi rebels agreed to reopen Sana'a airport. They also agreed to resume oil and gas exports. UN mediators hope they will also reach a deal today to help get humanitarian aid. Western nations pressed them to accept confidence-building steps hours before the end of UN-led peace talks in Sweden. The European Parliament approved a trade deal with Japan, which has been called the world's largest trade deal. The deal will come to effect in February. EU Trade Commissioner Cecilia Malmström said that the biggest trade zone ever negotiated is now very close to becoming a reality. The deal was confirmed even as British Prime Minister Theresa May is facing a no-confidence vote over the Brexit deal. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said that Turkey will launch a new military operation in northern Syria in a few days. The operation will be targeting Kurdish militia fighters who are supported by US troops. Speaking at a defense industry summit in Ankara, he said that Turkey will clear the east of the Euphrates from separatist terrorists. He added US soldiers are not the target. The Turkish president is looking for the political solution be opened and for healthier cooperation. A car bomb killed at least one child in northern Syria town, which is under the control of Turkey-backed rebel groups. The explosion wounded over 20 people. It damaged several buildings, including a hospital. A video showed injured being carried away from the scene in Azaz of Aleppo province. Israeli mourners gathered at the funeral of baby who died in a hospital in Jerusalem. The baby was delivered prematurely on Sunday by emergency cesarean section. The mother of the baby had been wounded in a Palestinian drive-by shooting. She was shot in her abdomen and her son was born in a critical condition. Her husband and 5 others were injured in the attack that took place at a bus stop. A special mass was held at the Catholic Cathedral in the Brazilian city of Campinas. This after a gunman opened fire there, killing 4 people before killing himself. Hundreds filed into the cathedral in a special ceremony in the memory of the victims. Some were there in support of their loved ones. The ceremony was led by the diocesan priest Monsignor Rafael Capelato. The French police identified the Strasbourg gunman who killed 2 on Tuesday. They released photos and a poster with his details. He was identified as Sheriff Chakat, a 29-year-old who had a thick police record for crimes. The poster described him as dangerous and armed. Over 720 members of the French security forces were hunting for the suspect. He killed 2, left 1 person brain dead and injured 12 others at the French Christmas market. Tributes were paid to the victims of the Strasbourg Christmas market attack. Hundreds lit candles in their memory. A sign reading "All United Against Barbarism" was also placed at the site of the shooting. Some also paid floral tributes. A Christmas tree was not lit in the area as usual, which was also a form of tribute. Thousands of Kosovo Serbs protested against trade taxes imposed by the Kosovan government. The government introduced a 100% tax on Serbian imports last month. The Serbs were also protesting Kosovo's move to transform the National Security Force into a regular army. Kosovo's lawmakers are set to vote on Friday on 3 laws for the same. Serbian leaders feel both these measures by the government are intended to force Serbs out of Kosovo. More than 100 Myanmar activists participated in a rally which marked the anniversary of the arrest of 2 Reuters journalists. WION and Kwasou were sentenced to 7 years in jail in a landmark free speech case in September. The activists released balloons at a rally in Yangon. Students, journalists and writers were sporting t-shirts that read "Journalism is not a crime." They lit candles and held a minute's silence for the 2. Some held copies of the latest cover of Time magazine, which named the 2 as Person of the Year. Argentina's Foreign Minister Jorge Fori began his 2-day visit to Qatar. Jorge Fori said Buenos Aires was reaching out to Doha at a time when it was battling runaway inflation and economic austerity. He said that Qatar was a country with great potential for foreign investments and that is why Argentina was contacting them. Fori is expected to meet several high-profile government figures in Doha, including Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The Brazilian government approved the World Trade Organization's action over subsidies given by India to sugar producers and exporters. Brazil has decided to start a formal action after it failed to receive enough information from India. The Brazilian government had sent letters to India seeking clarity on sugar policies. Brazilian Trade Ministry said that the support given to Indian farmers and exporters impacted the market in Brazil, Thailand and China. It had led to a surge in production. Britain's Prince Charles teamed up with his son Prince Harry to talk about youth violence. The royals met actor Tom Hardy, recording artist Tinie Tempah and England soccer manager Gareth Southgate at Clarence House in London. They discussed ways of tackling knife crime in Britain. Hardy, Tempah and Southgate attended the meeting as ambassadors of the Prince's Trust. The meeting also included youth and community experts. Ukraine modified its visa on arrival rules. It has decided to discontinue visa on arrival for foreign citizens, including Indians. The new decree will come into effect from January 1st, 2019. Indian nationals who plan to travel to Ukraine after 31st December have been asked to take the appropriate visa from Embassy of Ukraine before their trip. An apartment in Balch Springs near Dallas caught fire. A camera captured the moment when Texas police officers saved a boy. They caught the boy as he jumped from the window. Police said that the boy and his mother were trapped behind a door and the only way to save them was through the second-story window. One officer threw his baton to shatter the glass. The boy and his mother did not get hurt. However, their apartment was badly damaged.
It should be a little warmer in here. I cranked the heat up, okay?
Jump out the window! Open the window! Come on! It's okay!
Tens of thousands paid homage to Mexico's most revered Catholic figure, the Virgin of Guadalupe. They made their way to the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Some crawled on their knees while others carried images of the saint. They asked for favors or thanked their saint for miracles they attributed to her. The Virgin of Guadalupe is said to have appeared to peasant Juan Diego in 1531 on a hilltop which had once been a shrine to an ancient Aztec goddess. A new mother on the migrant caravan is hoping that US President Donald Trump's heart softens. Early Maciel of Honduras joined the caravan when she was 8 months pregnant. She gave birth to a healthy baby and is now hoping for another miracle. Early said if only God would soften his heart. She and her family are stuck at the Mexican border city of Tijuana and they are waiting to get asylum in US. Over 30 teams of adventurers around the world set off on the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge. The fleet began the adventure from La Gomera in the Canary Islands. The fleet will row 3,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean to finish in Antigua. They will be at sea for between 30 and 90 days. This year's race features teams of 5 for the very first time. Each boat will raise money for a chosen charity. Hundreds were drawn to a Christmas lights show in Makati City in Philippines. Locals brought loved ones from the country's provinces and even abroad to the show. The Ayala Festival of Lights is an annual lights show in Makati City. This year's Disney-themed show will run every night until January of next year.
Festival of Lights is brought to you by Ayala Land.
A Belgian enthusiast set up a Christmas village in his garden. The kingdom has a bedroom, a workshop and an office for Santa Claus to read his letters. Serge Hannibal, aeronautical technician by trade, began setting up in September. He had to take a month off from work to run the kingdom during peak festive season. His Christmas village has no entry fee. It had 5,000 visitors last year. Hannibal's decorations have developed from a single lighting installation 25 years ago to an entire winter wonderland with hundreds of lights. 19 days to go for 2019. The New Year's Eve countdown began in New York's Times Square. Organizers of the New Year's Eve events held the first countdown of the season. They illuminated the number 19 at Times Square. The numerals will stay at ground level until they are combined with the existing 20 to make 2019. Indian National Congress President Rahul Gandhi will be announcing the name of the new Chief Ministers of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh on Thursday. Ahead of this, Rahul Gandhi asked the Congress workers in two states to give their choice. Reports suggest that the veteran Congress leader Kamal Nath may become Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. India's top politicians, industrialists and film stars arrived at the country's richest man's residence, Mukesh Ambani's daughter Isha Ambani, who tied the knot with Anand Piramal. Piramal is the son of billionaire industrialist Ajay Piramal. American politician Hillary Clinton, India's ministers Rajnath Singh and Ravi Shankar Prasad were those among who attended the big fat Indian wedding. Even the country's former president Pranab Mukherjee was at the event. Film stars Shah Rukh Khan, Rajnikant, Aishwarya Rai, Priyanka Chopra also glamorized the ceremony.